So Seb, are you going to open this one up?
I just started recording as you started. I think we should leave that in, personally.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Okay, Tom's horrendous belching aside. Hello, and welcome back to the second episode of the podcast no one asked for. We're joined this week by Adam Swayne, who is not only a phenomenal pianist, but also once a lecturer at Chichester University, where we met him, and also now currently recently appointed the Deputy Head of Keyboard Studies at the Royal Northern College of Music. Is that right?
That is correct. Thank you for saying that.
Congratulations.
Whatever. Thanks.
Round of applause, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a really cool place to work. I mean, I've been working there a few years already as a lecturer. So this is something a bit more performance-based, which is great. All the pianists are fabulous. Staff are cool. Yeah, it's a great place.
And am I right in thinking that you studied there as well?
I did, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, in the late 90s and early noughties, I was a student there before doing a few other things, and of course teaching you guys at the University of Chichester.
Which I'm sure was a handful.
No, well, actually, it was a handful in the first year because you never turned up. I remember that.
Me?
Yes.
I don't remember most of your first year, Seb. Like, you never turned up to anything.
Listen, my parents are going to watch this, okay? Big trouble.
Because when a student doesn't turn up, I mean, they're literally just a name on a register, and you think, oh, I really wish I knew who that person was. And then sort of later on, because obviously, you know, the band became great guns, and you were working really hard in your second year, third year, and I suddenly thought, oh yeah, he was that guy that was never there.
No, I know myself as well. There's a distinct difference between first year me and second and third year me. Like,
Yeah.
I got to admit, first year it was just a party, really, wasn't it?
40%, right? So.
You know, a year, which was the other years, that's perfectly, you know, that's just being a student.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, the session where Nick licked his guitar.
that was where Tom.
I might have been there. I don't remember.
No, you weren't. That was Imp and Comp. You weren't in Imp and Comp. I was in a group with Tom. That's where I met Tom, actually.
Aww.
Where I first met Tom and I.
Oh.
And then I licked my guitar, and Ryan has a great story about this. What did you think?
Oh, all right, yeah. Well, at the time, I wasn't really too sure if I wanted to be at Chichester University anymore. And then I was sat in, because I don't know, it's just a new place. I didn't really know anyone. And then Nick licked his guitar. And then after that, I was seriously thinking about quitting university or moving somewhere else. That really did it for me.
I love the thought that Nick, that you've been in a band with for like, what, 5 years now, is nearly the reason you left university.
He really was.
I remember someone telling me that you said to them, like, there are some weird fucking kids at this university.
Nick being the main culprit of that.
Yeah.
I think you need to explain which part of the guitar you were licking. And while you do that, I just have to go and confiscate something the dog is eating. One moment.
Okay. I remember this lecture. We were meant to be playing our instruments in an unconventional way, and I just thought I'd strum the guitar by literally doing this and licking it like that. So,
yeah, I remember because you came up with that idea because we had like a couple of hours to practice this, and it was you, me, and this girl called Lydia, and yeah, it was just a moment in history.
It was a moment.
Was it just the three of you in the room? And
yeah,
you and Lydia and then Nick. No.
I think Nick was practicing the lick as well. So.
Yeah. We also had some bootwhackers. We just dropped them, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
I think Lydia played her flute the wrong way around, and then you did something else. I can't remember what you did. I think you were like trying to play the piano with your nose or something.
But this sort of stuff for you, Adam, must be quite tame. I mean, there's some of the things you must have seen with like Riot Ensemble and stuff. You guys do some pretty out there things.
Yeah, okay. So this is a contemporary music ensemble where playing instruments in an unconventional way seems to be the entire purpose. Oh, I shouldn't say that really. I just have said it, and it's going to go out there. But yeah, I mean, finding new ways to play your instrument seems to be something that has preoccupied composers for the last couple of decades, I guess. But I wonder, in a post-Corona era, if that is really going to be the primary goal anymore. I suspect not. I could be wrong.
Well, you think it's going to be try and make money?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's for musicians, and they're having to think of all sorts of creative ways to make money. So, I mean, some of the online performances in the last few weeks have been amazing, extraordinary. But I don't necessarily hear, oh, look, I found this new way of playing my guitar at the forefront of those performances. So,
I mean, I might be alone in this, but I find that sort of stuff quite interesting to watch anyway. When someone's doing something just wacky and out there, it's kind of makes you want to watch it anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. And actually, this is going to be the backbone of live performance going forward, I think. I mean, so much stuff is happening online now that if we come out of this pandemic with anything, it's going to be that people really need a reason to get off their backsides and turn up to a concert. You know, it's got to be a fully live experience because you can get so much online. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to leave your house. You don't have to put your health at risk if you don't want to. You're going to have to really do something to make people come to a concert. It's going to be serious business.
But it's going to be interesting, I think, the first sort of month or two after lockdown gets cancelled, because I think people are just going to be flocking to every gig, concert, show, whatever they can get to. So it's going to be...
Yeah, but some people might be a bit tentative about, especially because I mean, it'll be a gradual
True.
up of restrictions, and people might still be nervous about standing in a sweaty room full of other people. Not me. I'm looking forward. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, you're right. There's definitely two parties there, isn't there? Yeah. I can't wait to get back out. I'm sick of sitting around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And you know, we've rescheduled our tour dates to August as well. So fingers crossed that I think we start at the 7th of August. And I don't know whether we've massively overestimated in whether, because like thinking about it, my parents, you know, like my dad's in the vulnerable category because he's asthmatic. So it's whether he will actually it'll be safe for him to come along to a gig in August or not. But I guess we'll find out next month with what's going on.
Yes, we shall see. But I'm glad those dates have been rescheduled. That's great. That's really good. So the Comedia one, which was supposed to have been last night, is going to be 14th of August. This is the Brighton.
Yeah, 14th. But yeah, to be seen whether that actually goes ahead or not. I just don't know. But
yeah, we shall see. I was supposed to be on a tour with the Manchester Collective, starting 23rd of April, I think, and we were going to Leeds, Glasgow, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Oxford. All gone, all cancelled, a lot, all gone.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
So fun, isn't it?
What is that, Manchester Collective?
Oh, it's a contemporary music group. And we were going to do a programme involving George Crumb's Voice of the Well, which is a really cool piece that takes place in darkness, and the performers wear masks, and all the lights are dimmed to a sort of blue because it's supposed to be underwater, and I have to play the piano with a chisel. It's it really is good. It's one of my favourite. Great.
This is what I mean when I said that Nick licking a guitar is just nothing really, because you're just like, yeah, I'm just playing the piano with a chisel. I could still,
It's just
what you do.
1970s, you know, it's pre all of our births, and I'm old. You're not, but I am, and this piece is out there. Actually, the last concert I went to at the college before it shut down at the Royal Northern was actually a performance of that piece. And I said you have to wear masks. I mean, it's usually just eye masks that the performers wear, but the students took the decision to wear face masks as well in Corona style. And at the end, there's this gradual fade out, and they just looked straight into the audience with these masks on. And all of a sudden, the sort of enormity of the situation became extraordinarily apparent. It was very moving. And I thought they were having a laugh when they came in. Oh, face masks, very funny, contemporary reference, very good. But no, it really had a very powerful effect. So that's what live performance should be about: messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you do a lot of that sort of stuff because I was listening to your Speak to Me album as well, which was cool. But that's
it's done all right. Yeah.
It's done well. Yeah.
It's done well. You see, it's done critically well. People have written about it, and the articles have been published in lots of places, and that's really cool. Not a commercial success. The number of streams on Spotify very poor. Physical album sales actually not too bad, but I mean no one's really selling albums. Album last year into the classical charts. We were very pleased about this. I think it reached number 22 in front of Lang Lang, and we were very pleased.
Oh, nice.
Well, I looked at the number of albums that actually meant, and it was a pitiful number. I thought, oh, really? Is that all it takes to get to number 22?
That's amazing, though. It is all about streams now, though, isn't it? It's all about streaming it on Spotify, Apple Music. They're getting rid of iTunes as well because Apple Music is replacing it.
Right.
Which is mental.
I didn't even, to be fair, I didn't even know iTunes was still around.
No,
I feel like Spotify and Deezer are like the main two go-to ones at the moment.
Yeah.
Deezer's weird, isn't it? Because it seems like everyone in Europe tends to be using Deezer.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's on Deezer. Like when we were at uni a few years back, like it was never a thing. And we're on it as Lunar Blue, and I know a couple of people have shared our stuff and like tagged us in it through using Deezer. But that is, as you say, our European fan base. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. What I love about Spotify, I mean, you must have this. You've got the artist profile. You can see on it who's listening to your stuff and where.
Right. Yeah.
Funny stuff like how old they are and their gender. And I sort of think, well, this is completely irrelevant, but also kind of interesting. I'm a huge misogynist because most of my listeners seem to be male. But maybe it's because they just haven't picked. I don't know. I mean, who actually tells Spotify what gender they are? I mean, why is that even a thing?
I think loads of people sign up through Facebook. I know my Spotify account is through Facebook, so it links up third-party information.
I was going to say, it's definitely going to be Zuckerberg, isn't it, watching over you?
Always watching.
Always watching.
He knows everything about me. It's there's nothing left to show really. I was at American when Facebook was invented, so I was a postgraduate student. I think I had a title. What was it? Vice President of the Graduate Student Union or something like that. And my job was to organise parties. And so this new thing called Facebook was a really cool way of organising parties, and that's all it was, just a sort of network for college students. So this is 2002, 3. So anyway, as a consequence of this, I've been on Facebook for nearly 20 years, and that's far too long. And yeah, I mean that's almost half my life. God, that's very scary. All documented online.
So if we stalk your Facebook profile, we're going to find some really nice photos from about 20 years ago.
Yeah,
at uni.
Yeah, rather than exactly. Yeah.
Slumped on a sofa in a house party with like a petticoat in one hand, sombrero on for lots.
There's probably, I mean, a particular party springs to mind involving a coconut bra. That's probably there. Yeah, you'll see it.
Probably a bad time to mention you can do screen sharing on this, Adam. So we're just going to find your profile now.
The look of panic on Adam's face.
I don't care.
We won't do that to you. Don't worry. So, how are you spending your time in quarantine?
Could be worse. I'm in my flat in Hove. It's a one-bedroom flat, so it's not huge, and we're all working in here. So I say all of us. I've got my partner, David. He works in health insurance. So he's on sort of calls all day with his headphones and conferencing. I've got 2 pianos here. I've got an acoustic one and the digital one. Obviously, the acoustic one isn't ever so popular when he's working. So
I was going to say.
We've also got a small dog with us, Lola. She's currently experiencing a bout of diarrhea and has had a shit 6 times today. And some of those shits have been pretty watery. So, content isn't exactly why you asked me on.
Well, at least you're not getting bored.
Yeah.
She did one indoors. This morning. And that hasn't happened. She's a puppy. So initially, shits indoors was a thing, but she's not done that for a good 6 or 7 months. But she's not well. You know, I feel a bit bad. When it happened, I was cross, and then later I realised she wasn't well, so I issued an apology.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Is it hardwood or carpet?
Oh no, hard floors.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. I was going to say if it's in the carpet, that'd be a bit of a nightmare.
That would be
a
a
preview
disaster.
of the.
There's the dog. She's just lying there, so that's a good place for her to be.
Wait, is that a little dog on the floor?
What? No, that's a teddy.
Oh, right.
No, that wasn't the real dog.
I was going to say, just like a dead dog on its side.
Go down a little bit. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, God. But that piano, by the way, that looks like a piece of art.
Yeah, so I've got a proper piano here, which is cool. It's very out of tune. Because I mean,
Give us a play. Give us a tune.
What, right now?
Yeah, go on.
Can you? I tell you what.
Oh, Nick.
I was doing actually your happy birthday videos.
Yeah, happy birthday videos. So some of them are filmed in here.
Oh, they?
There was a little incident involving my mum who got really, really upset that I made a birthday video for the dog and not for her. Yeah. I didn't realise she wanted one. She doesn't like her birthday. So this was a bit of a misunderstanding. Yeah, we went thermonuclear about it, actually. So since then, I've stopped doing them.
Well, could you? Maybe you could do one for your mum on the live stream. We'll send it to her. And then the good books.
When is her birthday? September. So I mean, it couldn't really be further away from the actual event.
You're getting in early, Adam. It's fine.
I've got 6 months to plan that one. They got increasingly ridiculous. I mean, when I started doing them, it was to cheer up some friends that were not all that happy. So I did a nice video, and everyone would sort of like it, and they'd feel, it had a purpose. And then it got a little bit more ridiculous as people were sort of asking for them. And I made a bit of money out of them for a time. Did you see this?
No.
I did a deal where I offered albums and a video for 25 quid. And I'd post the album and then do a video. And I made some quite good money out of that. So it became a business venture.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I'm just going to find one just to screen share it because they're brilliant.
They are really good. And 25 quid seems like a bargain as well. I reckon you could have raked in a bit more for that. Time and energy gone into them.
You know, one of them took a while. The James Bond one took a morning of trying to figure out how to make the blood.
that one was genius.
Time, you know. So.
I think my favourite was the Theresa May one.
Oh God,
I haven't seen that.
The Theresa May one.
The Theresa May one was, I was pleased with that. David, my partner, did not enjoy that one ever so much because I made him do things like pull something off the wall, and there were a couple of things he had to do, and it took us about 8 times to get that one right, and he'd had enough by take 8.
Let me see if I can screen share this. I've got. Oh, hello. Share. Does this work?
Yes.
Doing something.
It's doing something. It's Sebastian Bone has started screen sharing. That's all it's got. It's not got your actual screen on it.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go.
Nice stuff.
Oh wow.
Look, I'll let you answer. Sounds good.
The level of commitment is fantastic.
Why did I feel that one of the writers on? There's a chance they could have broken. What an idiot!
Oh, that's amazing.
Ooh,
That is brilliant.
my side's got a bit funny now. I'm lagging a bit. Yeah.
I want you to admire the fact I've put on a tropical shirt.
You know what? I was going to ask that.
I thought of you. There, I did it. Look, and it's the artwork for that particular one. Yeah.
Aww.
We do love you, Adam.
Hello.
Good. So what's happening? What are the plans? So you've Look at Me came out. What was that? About 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
Is there
You did really well. Got a lot of streams on Spotify.
Yes, I saw that. I went on last night. Lots and lots and lots.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
What's your thousand right now?
Yeah, 40,000. Yeah, we've been focusing on one of the main things we've had with it is, going back to the whole thing with algorithms and using your Spotify for artists is trying to get it to be added to playlists.
Yeah.
Just anything from big ones to like user created ones to like bigger Spotify ones. Just that's where it's at. People actually saving the track rather than just streaming it. Okay. So that's kind of been our kind of behind the scenes focus for 2020 so far. And yeah, it's going pretty well so far, which is good.
40,000 is a lot, but it should be 40 million. There we are. Everyone should
40 million. Like, screw Ariana Grande and like Queen, like Luna Blue.
I'm not going to hold my breath on that one just yet.
Well, if Adam has it on repeat every single day,
I'm not that committed. Sorry.
Because you're saying it's
what get off our stream.
Yeah, but I have got a question. Maybe it's not appropriate to ask this here, but I will ask it. What about the older tracks which aren't on Spotify? Why is that? Why are you going to put them there?
Tom, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, well, they were on Spotify. We made the judgment call just before we released. Well, 4 weeks prior to releasing Look at Me, that we would take them off Spotify, but they're still on YouTube and they're still on SoundCloud. Okay. And literally all because of algorithmic purposes.
All right.
Because the issue we had was, we want Spotify to favor us. So they're like, oh, we like this song, we like this band, let's put them on a big playlist. But the issue we had was our old music. Like one of the songs was rock under the genre because, you get to pick what genre they are and you got to give a bit of information about each song as you upload them. So one of them was rock, one of them was indie pop, one of them was indie rock, one of them was alternative rock. Then we released one which was indie pop, and we're just going through so many genres that we wanted the algorithms to favor us and be like, oh, this band got loads of streams, they're indie rock, let's put them on an indie rock playlist. But instead, because we were so mix and match, we thought, and plus the audio quality of our last stuff, like the music's cool and like we love writing like that. We've gone a little bit more, we have gone more commercial in terms of putting Luna Blue University into like more of a pop structure. But yeah, mainly to just define our sound rather than being like, we'll have a bit of jazz in this song, or a little bit of R&B in this song, or a little bit of rock, just tidying it up a little bit. It
was all just like streamlining the sound and the whole band, I guess, into one direction, not one direction. One direction.
I think it's just because all of our music is so diverse. It's just we need the stuff that's all going to sound not the same but similar, so that artists who, or maybe promoters who are looking us up and stuff, will be like, okay, so they're definitely fit in this genre, and then we start getting a bit more success and we're getting a bit more a few more streams and all that side of things, then we can start going back to that side of things, making things a little bit more diverse and all that. So we're just trying to make sure we get the definite style of music first, so we get a bit more notice within that style, rather than like do like 5 different music styles, like including jazz, prog, indie, rock. We don't want to do like all of it at the same time.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
So that's the reason.
very, very interesting because I mean, I absolutely see where you're coming from there. It's a good decision, and it's the only decision that you can make, really. But for me, I find it interesting, and it sort of illustrates why my album hasn't had any commercial success at all. I don't care, but I don't have to care. I mean, I do the album for sort of research purposes, and it sort of feeds into my academic job, which is exactly not what you're doing. So, I mean, the album is here. Here we are. That does not scream classical music, and that's probably So I've done everything wrong in terms of trying to sell things, and you're doing everything right. But it is, I find it interesting to sort of play devil's advocate, because I mean, that's precisely why I like going to your gigs, because there's all sorts of stuff happening, and not just one style, but loads of styles all feeding in, and I just think it's a glorious mix of stuff. And I still have that.
There is still a little bit of that there. Like me and Seb, definitely, you can still tell when you listen to, if you listen to the bass and the drums compared to just the guitar and all together, you can hear that we're both still very much influenced by the prog setting. So it's still there. It's just not as prominent, I don't think. So,
and like we've spoken about, because we love that rockier side at the moment. Like as artists, like as bigger artists, they develop. You have their albums, they develop as well. So at the moment, we're just gonna like keep the heavier stuff to a side, and we're just gonna focus on like that poppier rock sound. And then once we've like had some fun, like pushing our band to the limits with that, then we can play around with different genres. But I think it's, as Seb was saying, kind of streamlining it in one direction, which kind of has been happening with our photo shoots as well. We've had our photo shoots, we've had our music channeling into one direction, all in the aim to just push ourselves out there quite a bit more.
And that's Beatles-esque, I guess, isn't it? Set yourselves up with a certain predictability, and then do anything.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
the beginning of Nightjar, and when you start gigs with that, and the atmosphere just changes, because it's not at all what people are expecting. And then the way they respond to the rest of it is interesting, because you can see they're slightly sort of, oh, well, this is great, but that beginning was actually kind of scary.
Yeah.
I like that. Then again, I'm weird. Everyone should check out the YouTube stuff. I mean, it's bad. I can't remember, what was your first album called? The one with Virgin's Jam on, and
that was just our demo EP. That was really something. That can only be found on our website now. Is that right? Or I think it's still on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. Yeah, it's hidden away.
It's really not very good.
It is.
I like it.
Yeah. Tom was experimenting with a lot of quarter tones in his vocal range.
Yeah, we did that album in first year, and Adam actually started off. It was second year.
Yeah.
But Adam, you probably wouldn't have really known us, because, as you said, we flunked half of all of our lectures.
Oh,
I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, no, I noticed you guys during the sort of interval between your first year and second year, because whenever I went in to work over the summer, and I mean, frankly, academics don't go in very much when there's no teaching. I mean, they do a lot of stuff at home, and there's lots of research to do. But every time I went in, you guys were practicing. So that's where you sort of appeared on my radar. God, these guys are working really hard. And then, as you say, the second year. When did you win that competition? Was that second year?
That was second year, 2016.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Ensemble of the year, 2016. God, that was 4 years ago now.
Ensemble of the year. I've got the card hanging up in my bedroom.
That was literally 4 years ago to the week, I think, because it was right after Easter holidays. We went for that meal that we won.
Do you remember that? The glorious prize was a meal.
Hey,
it was great.
We were students, Adam. A meal was like gold dust.
And I'm pretty sure, Ryan, wasn't that like the best pork pie you'd ever had of your life or something you were banging on?
I think so. It's really nice. It's a bloody nice place.
I was given a budget of 100 quid. I mean, I just thought sort of giving out 100 quid was a bit boring. But if it's a meal, you know, say because it's a community thing, you know, sort of continuing the community idea. Otherwise, it would just be £25 each. You know, that's gone in an afternoon. So I think a meal is a bit better. But yeah, £100 for competition prize is not big bucks.
It was
But there
great.
we are.
We didn't look at the
We
gift
loved
cards
it.
amount. We were quite happy with that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. We also milked the hell of the of winning that competition. I think that's still on our bio, one of our bios.
I put that on my CV. I always put it on my CV.
It's on my CV as well. It sounds way better. Like the feeling was great, but you know, coming from like Chai Uni and whatnot, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean that much, but it was definitely an achievement.
Yeah.
No,
I'm happy with it.
yeah, when you're at a university in that sort of environment, you have to enter those kind of things. I mean, that's the way to start, you know, and
Yeah.
competition success. I mean, the students at the Northern, they value the internal competitions hugely. And this whole lockdown thing, I mean, I'm getting a lot of emails and because of course we're trying to get them through their degrees as best we possibly can in the circumstances. This is not easy. So many of them are doing online recordings for their recitals. Many of them are using stuff they've done in the interim as a sort of substitute recital. But what they're all saying, and I get this, is look, it's not all about the degree. We're actually doing this because we want to meet people, we want to play in front of people, we want to do competitions, we want to use the facilities, all that sort of thing. You want to sort of be part of a bubble. You know, you were saying on last week's podcast about, you know, when you're in an educational environment, it is a bubble. Yeah, it always is for sure. But that's the way to start. You know, it's networking without having to network because you're already part of a scene. So students have been saying, I really miss that, and I get it because I miss it as well. So sad times, but it's nice to see people online. We're giving a lot of classes online at the moment, and I think the students are enjoying that just because it breaks up the day. I mean,
Yeah.
can't wait to get back.
No, for me, like the days are all starting to blur into one now, and I don't really know. It is Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, it's because we're doing it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No. There's been a shortage of eggs around here, apart from Lola. There's been plenty of eggs from her, but you can't eat them.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
So, how are you finding online teaching then? Because obviously, you know, all of us are in the same boat, except for Seb, being an estate agent. But when it comes to online teaching and moving all of our classes to Zoom to teach, how are you finding it being a university lecturer or head of keyboard studies?
Well, you see, at the moment, I'm still a lecturer, so I've become deputy head of keyboard in a week and a bit. So I haven't quite started that yet. And hopefully by the time I actually have my own one-to-one students, we'll be back in the building. I did teach one piano lesson last week. That was my first one. I think I need some advice from you guys actually on how to do this. Tom's got the full setup. Look at that mic. And
He's got a team behind him as well.
I know, ready to go.
No, I taught Ollie March. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
The violinist, and he's a good pianist, and he's been doing Beethoven and Pathetique, which is on the music stand behind me, actually. So we had a lesson on Zoom. Both of us were a bit technologically
Challenged.
Yeah, get better at it, to be fair. But lectures actually fine because I pre-recorded them. So I did a few little skits of me talking, and then a few sort of slides, and then a few interactive bits and pieces, and that was quite fun actually. And I just dumped the whole lot online and said to the students, you could engage with that in your own time. So it wasn't a live lecture, so to speak. And that was fun. That was good. But it's not the same as being in a room. I mean, I like the performance of talking to a bunch of people. You know, lectures.
I was going to say you always look like you used to enjoy it, especially in imp and comp.
Yeah, because there's lots that happen that's live. You know, you respond to the fact that you guess, and then the conversation goes from there. And when you're sort of just barking into the ether, then there's a limit to how successful that can be, but needs must. So there we are.
100%. I do agree that my teaching does feel way more formulaic now. I feel like I have to plan a hell of a lot more in terms of, like, even from the little things of sight reading exercises, like emailing that to the students in advance. I'm finding it's quite a lot more time consuming. But I'm also finding that it's having its benefits with students. So in terms of music theory, so because normally when I'm with a student, if they're kind of grade 2 or grade 3, maybe grade 2, that I'm not going to spend as much attention as being like the semiquaver in bar 4. I'd point it out, or I would say, let's come in from the B section. Seeing as when you're on Zoom, you have to be like, okay, so after the quarter beat rest in the right hand, you've got that triplet. And they're having to really use their knowledge now, which they've learned, to really pick out, and like attention to detail has increased massively, which I'm enjoying. It's really satisfying actually seeing, because I've got a 4-year-old that was picking out like crotchets in bar like 8 or something the other day, and I just had that moment, and I was like, this guy, he's so young and he's picking out note values and he's doing music theory. Like, this is incredible. So yeah, it was nice.
I mean, do you think it's got a lot to do with, because I've got loads of nieces and nephews that are my own kids, but they're all on looking at YouTube all the time. And some of the videos they watch, okay, I'm going to sound like a really old man, but I am. So they're really boring. These videos are like, how to make something, or how to, this fashion tip, and it goes on for like 15 minutes, and really these people like say nothing, and the kids are glued to it and properly taking it in. So maybe there's something about having a lesson from someone on a screen that means they pay more attention, and when you're just sort of like in the room and they just wish they were somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know. It's ideal for this generation.
Well, did anyone see, there was a maths teacher that did an online lecture or lesson or whatever. He did it with virtual reality.
Oh yeah,
it's quite incredible. He used there's a new Half-Life game. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but you can literally you've got like gloves basically, and you can use your hands to like pick things up in the virtual world. And he was picking up like pens and like writing on the wall, like drawing diagrams in virtual reality, and all these kids were watching it. That's cool. I'd watch that. Cool. I did watch that for about 20 minutes because it was fascinating. It was like year 8 maths. It was like really basic stuff, but it was cool. Like, I got really into it. So
that is good. I have learned the art of the virtual background. That's good.
Yeah.
Suddenly, and it keeps the attention. It's great.
What do you pick as your virtual background?
Now what have I got? Oh, and I'm on the work computer, so maybe I don't have any. Let me just see. I did a quiz last week, a sort of pub quiz. I was running it. And which James Bond film am I in? Was the quiz, and the background kept changing. But I'm going to fail because this is I downloaded the new laptop one, and I don't know how to use it.
Well, the bookcase background is wonderful, Adam.
Yeah, it screams lecturer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've even got composer busts. It's very, very sad, very classical.
I can see that now. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're watching over me. Yeah. So anyway, I hope it doesn't last too long. But it has been quite good for pedagogy, I think. People are becoming better teachers in a way. And then, of course, they need to teach. I mean, are you finding that... I mean, maybe it's a bit personal question to ask in a podcast. By the way, this is not a podcast. I'd just like to throw that in because this is a video.
This is what? Are you insulting our podcast?
Audio only. And I can definitely be seen, which is why I did my hair, put on a shirt.
And look at Ryan, he's in his dressing gown.
Yeah, I probably should have done more than this. But
fucking hell, Ryan.
Ryan, I haven't seen you not in that dressing gown this year.
I haven't not got out of this dressing gown, to be fair.
I bet it smells fruity.
I didn't wear a dressing gown. You can get away with it. It looks like a jumper.
Yeah, there you go. You just had to bring attention to it.
I did have a question, which was: are people? I mean, are all your students doing this? Have any of them dropped off?
I've still got all of mine doing it.
I've only got about 60% of my students.
Yeah, I mean, what I've heard
Most
is
of my students are in a school, so
exactly. So it's different. But if you've got one-to-ones that are signed up individually, then yeah, they're easier to keep. But if it's part of a school system, yeah, tricky.
Well,
I mean, nightmare this. I mean, for people's incomes, just pain.
especially self-employed, it's tough.
It is.
As far as I'm aware, you're not getting anything till June, I think, which is crazy. Long time.
Ryan, you'll know the most about this, won't you? Because you're.
Well, I'm actually employed by West Sussex Music, so luckily I got made furlough, and so I'm getting 80% of my average income. So I'm very glad about that. But I'm not too sure about self-employment because it doesn't go to me so much because I've got such few private students. I don't really have to worry about it, and they're all still having lessons anyway. So.
Well, I think most people need something to do at the moment.
Yeah.
So having an hour lesson once a week is like gold dust, isn't it?
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was going to say, I'm quite fortunate because I've got all of my students except for one family, which have all moved online, and that one family is because they're ill. They're all at high risk, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, all of my students have moved online, so I'm actually, I'm fortunate enough to be in that position where I am in a comfortable position financially. And in fact, I used to spend 40 to 50 quid a week on petrol driving to all of my students. And now because it's all online, I'm actually seeing myself save about 200 quid a month or something. Like it is, I mean, it's tough because, as we said, way more time with lesson planning and living in this office all day, every day, like these four walls, not good for your mental health. So there's more time going for walks and stuff. And just like going back to the whole walks things, like, I found that I'm taking in way more of my surroundings lately. I'm noticing things about Lewis and just about the woodlands, which I would never have noticed in a day-to-day because I'm normally so busy, like driving to work, coming back from work, working at home, then going back. But now I've got time I'm giving myself these times for headspace when I'm out and about. Like I'm just noticing things and smells, and it's interesting.
Smells.
Yeah, like the smell of summer is gorgeous. It's really nice.
But it's funny how, I mean, the vivid quality that things seem to have because of the air quality. Fantastic. Right, there's a lot to notice. There are lots of positives here, despite the income dive. And for many of my right ensemble colleagues, it was all performance, and so
of course,
all gone. But we're all practicing loads. I'm doing loads of practice. I haven't practiced so much. Like proper stuff.
Yeah, same. I've been playing guitar for about 7 hours today, and I've never.
Nice one.
That's just like
panic practice.
I bother to do anything else.
Yeah, but I mean, usually I practice, because there's a concert imminently, and I'm absolutely petrified because I can't play it, and the concert's next week or whatever, and it's glorious to sort of have that time and space just to do something properly.
I had this illusion that once you become, a lecturer, and you've got all these like massive concerts under your belt, that you prepared well in advance for a concert, and you don't leave it till that week before.
I'm an idiot, and I do new contemporary music, so it's constantly new. I'm just constantly new stuff. And the ridiculous thing is, I mean, I might do a really hard piece like the Elliott Carter double concerto I did a couple of years ago. That literally took hundreds of hours of practice. We did it once, so 23 minutes of Euracy. People clapped. I took my bow. I went to the pub. Never played it again.
Is it recorded?
We do need to play it again. It's rather expensive because there are quite a lot of people in it. And I don't regret doing it. I mean, it's made me a better person and a better pianist. But I mean, in terms of practice time ratio to income, craziness, really. But it's the thing with all rep. I mean, Rack 2, I've only done that twice. That's a big old play. It takes hours of practice. So, yeah, I mean, if I was more sensible, I would just trot out the same concert program over and over and over again. But then life would be boring, and I wouldn't be interesting, and my concerts would probably be bad. So there we are.
And you wouldn't be on our podcast.
which let's face it, is the high point, Adam. I mean, the Blue podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Vodcast. That's what you need to call it. Yeah.
Vodcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a concert that's just gone completely Pete Tom?
Yes. Let me see. The one that springs to mind instantly is Salisbury in 2014, I think it was. And this was one of my pieces. I wrote a tarantella for clarinet and piano. And it's a funny piece. I mean, it's supposed to be funny. So it's all about a spider bite, and a clarinetist gets bitten at the beginning of the piece and then spends the rest of the piece sort of trying to dance the poison away, but sort of having seizures, and it's sort of hammer horror in musical form. Anyway, we prepared the thing, and it was the halftime skit for a wind band concert, and I watched the audience come in, and I thought, these people look fun. They're going to be really up for this. This is, they've all got senses of humour. This is going to be fine, And then we played the piece, and it was literally tumbleweed.
Oh no!
Applause like this, just very sort of, and looks. That's probably the worst. There was another concert where people booed.
No.
Yeah, but I tell you what, that was good. I liked that because it only takes 6 people to boo, and it's really loud. You can properly hear it. And so everyone else in the room suddenly becomes more agitated because they want to cover up the boos. So the clapping gets louder, and then there's cheering, and then the response is bigger. So you want boos. Boos are good.
Okay.
What did you do to get boos?
Well, you see, it wasn't me. That was it. It wasn't the performance. It's John Adams, who's probably the most famous contemporary classical composer with us at the moment. He's American, brilliant composer. And it was when I was a student, and the university paid him a lot of money to come and do a week's residency. And some of the composition students who had sort of strong feelings about his music thought that that was kind of a waste of money, to pay him so much. So they had the intention of turning up to the concert and booing whatever happened. Didn't matter if the performance was good or bad or whatever. They were going to boo just to make their opinions heard. So they did. And I was performing with my professor. She was on stage, and they started booing. And I whispered to her, I said, "Oh God, this isn't good, is it?" And she said, "No, Adam, this is the best thing that has ever happened."
Oh God.
Yeah.
God, it was at the House of Commons.
Yeah, well, I've written one of those pieces as well. Yeah, my Margaret Thatcher piece is has a lot of booing in.
Can our audience, can we find this on Spotify?
It's on YouTube. It's called Maggie, 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 Sing, Sing, Sing. And it is, according to my own mother, the worst piece of music ever composed. That's
okay. We're going to leave a link to that one, I think, in the description, because I think everyone probably needs to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite proud of that one. It's not the worst thing I've ever done.
Oh, that's funny.
What is your favourite piece that you've composed?
Compose. What have I done? There's a string quartet that I'm proud of. That was actually a student piece. There's actually the clarinet piece I like. Oh, there's a wind band piece called "Go Down, Ho Down," which is good fun. I had to get it. I had to confiscate it from the University of Manchester Wind Orchestra cupboard because I wrote it for student friends, and there's a whole load of jokes in the score which was sort of designed for certain people, and I thought, I've got to get that score back because some of those jokes aren't very funny.
Oh, so like inside jokes, the people that you had written the music for?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. So very nerdy, very, very sort of typical bubble stuff, educational establishments. Actually, I will tell you what the joke is, and this will tell you how much society has moved on since the early noughties. But what my housemate, when I was a student, was American, amazing person, and she would have no inhibitions at all. So she would go to concerts and she would sit at the back and she would stand up at the end of the concert and she would expose herself to all the performers. Now, of course, the rest of the audience couldn't see she was at the back, but everyone. So in the piece, it says expose yourself at this moment. But I thought that's why I've got to get the score back, because it's not funny. But for her at that moment, yeah, it was the right thing to do. Not that story.
I suppose as a lecturer now at the uni, it might get you in trouble.
Well, that's why I got a concert.
That's so true.
Everyone yeah, well, times change, but also thinking about that in more detail. I mean, you think about art forms. You think of visual art. You think of film. All art forms include nudity, and classical music in general. Actually, it's a problem for some reason. I suppose because the visual component isn't necessarily an established part of the art.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm trying to justify it now.
Yeah, you are.
I was going to say nudity. Okay, where's this going, Adam? Where's this going?
Trying very hard for when they see this video. You got a backpedal.
Yeah. I think that they won't have they would have done it when I started talking about my dog, who's currently and not squitting on the floor. So that's great.
Oh, that's good news. That's fantastic news.
Amazing.
Yeah, well.
Questions?
What's your favourite piece that we've composed?
Oh dear.
Oh, Nick.
I don't like that question.
I'm only joking. Please don't answer that question.
My favourite Lunacy track is probably.
Oh God, he's actually answering it. Say that
Yeah.
again.
Probably Checkmate. I like that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And Virgin, because I like Ryan's solo. There we are.
Oh, thank you very
Oh,
much.
the Virgin Jam. We haven't played that one live in ages.
Oh, wait, we played it like 6
yeah,
weeks ago.
Yeah, but only because we had to do like a
Market.
45-minute set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the last time before that was like
Years.
late
Uni
2018.
days.
Or was it before that?
I think it was uni days.
God,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
You need to think about the apostrophe. There we are. There's the lecture coming out. There's no apostrophe, and that bothers me every time it pops up.
It's part of the art, Adam. It grabs your attention.
Well, it does, and do you put it before the S or after the S? How many virgins are there? You need to think about it.
Oh, the amount of spelling mistakes in that first EP.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, it was the
Shout
blurb at the back
out.
of it that said incredible rather than incredible.
Why did we let Tom do the thing for that?
Why do you still let me do it? Like, we
yeah.
put an Instagram post up earlier of Amy Winehouse cover, and like I got a message off Ryan like 20 minutes later being like, "You dickhead, you've spelt black wrong, or you've put the wrong word in there."
Yeah, it's
And
back
I
to
even
black, not back to back.
I'd even proofread it as well. Like,
That makes it so much more funny.
mate, well, I'm dyslexic, so I can pull out that. It's fine.
Oh, it's still funny though.
You did get the laptop and the extra time in exams, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fine. Our MP for Hove is dyslexic, and his posts are unedited, but that's fine. They're quite long and detailed, and he just says, "Well, I haven't got time to." It's an instant thing, so you're just going to have to put up with it, and everyone does. Fair enough.
Yeah, but we can bully Tom High. We can't bully the MP
I think I should get Grammarly on my phone. Honestly, Grammarly has changed the way I type emails to my students and work colleagues and stuff. It is actually really helpful. So I'll get it on my phone. Happy days all around.
How does it work? It scans everything you do, or what?
It's like a spell check. Well, it's an enhanced spell check, but it also does phrasing as well, and it tells you whether you're using formal or informal language, so you can switch up, and it helps you with your punctuation. So yeah,
Okay.
good bits. Hits.
We're looking for sponsorships as well. So, Grammarly.
Grammarly want to show.
Adverts for Grammarly pop up on YouTube and stuff, but it's a bit difficult because sort of the filtering process. Because I also see a lot of adverts on YouTube advertising essay mills. You know, cheat, we'll write your essay for you, that sort of thing. And I mean, I've got a lot of international students, and you know, when you have to write a massive essay in a second language, that is a temptation, and it's a bit of a problem. We've got quite a lot of students who will also sort of abuse Google Translate, whack the whole essay into that, and just not really check it when it comes out. I mean, there have been some quite funny.
I bet it does. That's hilarious.
Is it obvious if somebody's cheated in their degree?
Yeah, it's really obvious, and it's very sad because well,
Ryan's just checking for for his essays that he did ages ago.
Oh, I've never cheated. I can say that. There was one time where I wrote an essay about 2 a.m. with Tom, and we were both drunk in my dorm room, and I was like, oh my god, I've got an essay due. That's in first year. It's fine.
Yeah, it was like a 1,500 words as well. It was a pretty hefty essay, and we were just playing Skate 3.
I was there as well. It was just before we went to the SU.
No.
You crammed it in like an hour. You're like,
maybe that must have been another one, yeah.
And this is first year. This is why we were never at our lectures.
First year. Ben Hall gave us a free pass in first year. It's fine.
He literally did start off first year being like, lads, you only need 40%. Minus the lads bit.
A different speech to every first year, and I think he was just sort of doing an experiment to see the result. Because some years he was saying, you guys have got to work really hard because frankly there's no money at the end of this and you're all doomed. He would say that sometimes. And then other times he would say, look, don't do anything, you're here for a laugh, and as long as you pass the first year and get onto the bit where it matters, then you'll all be fine.
Amazing.
Very literally.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I enjoyed reading those essays. Did I mark any of those ones you've just mentioned?
Probably.
No, I don't think so.
No, we had music grammar with Arthur Robson.
Yeah.
And we had a bunch of other lecturers. We only had you for Imp and Comp, and what was the other one we had? Cannot remember for life.
I definitely had you.
Wasn't it? It was just Imp and Comp and ensembles, I think.
Oh yeah, ensemble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's going all right. Did I tell you I went on Rob Westwood's stag?
Yes, yes, you did.
So he was supposed to get married yesterday. They pushed it 6 months, so October is the new wedding date. But yeah, I went on the stag. Now, Rich Stubbs, who was the best man, told me that Nick Reynolds was coming as well. So I thought, well, that'd be great. If Nick's going, I'll definitely go. Well, he didn't turn up, did he? I distinctly felt the oldest person there, but it didn't seem to matter. It was good. It was good fun. Yeah. Rich Carter was sick on the street.
No.
On the second day, and yeah, he'd had nothing left to throw up apart from bile, so it was green. I was that close.
Oh,
no, mate.
Oh no.
Nothing else controversial happened. We had good. We went to one of those sort of indoor adventure kind of things, you know, with inflatable jousting and bungee runs, that sort of thing, and it was good.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned Rob Westwood. I had a massive nostalgia attack about a couple of days ago when we were in the jazz workshop when we did that jazz fusion version of Take on Me. When he helped us out with that, I was like one of the best things you've ever done.
Really good musician. It's fantastic.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He also works at West Sussex Music as well.
Just marvellous. Really, just absolutely extraordinarily good. The sort of creativity and the sort of experimentation that is always at the heart of it magnificent, very good. It was good for
real.
a mostly classical musician to be in that kind of environment for a bit. It was very useful.
Yeah.
I think it's a real shame that him and that I can't remember what they were called. What's the band he was in with Rowan and Alex?
We Are Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a shame that didn't keep going.
That was cool. That was cool project.
That was a really cool
good.
band. Yeah.
So
Did you listen to Alex Ayling's album he released about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
No, I haven't yet. I saw he released it, but I haven't listened yet.
To be honest, I only listened to. Sorry. What were you saying, Adam?
They did it all in a week. It was 7 days from start to finish. Very impressive. And he's got some great equipment at home to pull off that kind of stuff. This is where I really fail. I'm very sort of acoustically, tediously old-fashioned with tech and things. But to put together that kind of thing in 1 week, very impressive. But he's a very creative and energetic person. And Tim's got a great voice, and they write songs together, and they're really good songs, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, that was really good.
Cool.
Right.
We have been talking for like over an hour now, haven't we?
It's
Yeah, oh my god,
again.
we have. Sure.
Well, it's probably time. Adam, first of all, you need to give us a name for this episode.
Well, I have done. This is not a podcast.
Okay, there we go.
The podcast no one asked for, episode 2. This is not a podcast. Fantastic.
The image, my favourite painting is René Magritte with the pipe. Do you know what I mean? A surrealist painter, and there's a very detailed drawing of a pipe, and then the caption underneath is "This is not a pipe."
You sent that over. I have no idea what it was, but brilliant. We'll maybe make that as the background, or maybe next episode we'll have that as my screen background.
Yep.
There we go.
Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers, Adam.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Stay safe.
Yes, likewise. And see you in August for the gig at Comedian.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Fingers crossed.
See you there.
No, we'll be there. Yeah.
Cheers.
Best of luck, Adam, with the new role. Speak soon.
See you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.